So what kind of name is Belivet?
It's Czech. It's changed originally.
It's very original.
Well.
And your first name?
Therese.
Therese, not Teresa.
No.
Therese Belivet. It's lovely.
And yours?
Carol.
Carol.
So how soon after I'm Not There did you know you wanted to work with Todd Haynes again?
Oh, after the first day. I mean, I was so full of trepidation playing a version of Bob Dylan. I thought, this is insanity. But the minute you get on set with Todd, it's so elastic and wild and dangerous and inventive. And this is an entirely different endeavor. But it still had that, anything's possible, dangerous kind of kamikaze feel on set, which I really warmed to.
Well, we had 2 weeks of rehearsal before we started in Cincinnati, and Todd had, we both had been talking to Todd for months about it, and he had given us, 4 different mix CDs of music from that time and lots of different things to watch. He'd also made this really beautiful book of images that inspired him for the film and what he wanted the film to look like. So we were really prepared, even just coming to rehearsal and knowing what world we were stepping into.
I had to learn to drive a 1949 Packard that was a stick shift that I did not find out I was going to have to drive until I got to Cincinnati. And someone in production said, "Oh, Todd wants to know if he loves the color of this one car, but it's a stick. If you can't figure out how to drive it, he'll get a different car, but he really wants to use this color car." And I was like, "Okay, Todd, I'm so glad you want to use this color car, but I can't drive a stick in a car that was made last week. So this is a tank, and you want me to drive the most recent Academy Award winner for Best Actress in the passenger seat. You can really just buzz off." But I did do it. I went to a parking lot and drove around every day and learned to drive that Packard, which was exciting. And I had to hit a mark with like a camera and a crew all around, and I had to take this tank and get... And Ed Lockman, who was our cinematographer, said, "I'll give you $1 if you hit that mark every time." And so I made about $10 that one day. It was pretty awesome.
Now it can go on the resume.
Now it can go on the resume as I can
driving.
drive a 1949 Packard stick shift.
A lot of it was about talking about, trying to define the socioeconomic world that Therese comes from, but also the kind of the culture that produces Therese and the time and place. And so already there was a discussion about this girl who, very much like Patricia Highsmith, had somewhat formed herself. She wasn't from a wealthy background. She didn't have a massive education. And it's very autobiographical, the novel of Price of Salt. So, Therese has some instincts and some innate talents, but she's also this unformed creature. And that's an interesting challenge for an actor, and it's something I hadn't really seen Rooney ever play before. Somebody who's sort of coming into focus throughout the course of the film, and who you really literally watch grow up in front of your eyes.
There's something great about your performance in this. Everyone's performance in this is very toned down, and it's the sense that a lot could be happening behind your eyes.
I hope so. There was certainly a lot to play with. There's a lot to play with in the novel. I mean, Phyllis did a great job of wresting the novel out of novel form and making it into a film. But there were so many gems that didn't make the novel, which were ripe, like little clues, psychological clues that you could play with of, what was going on, subtext. In the subtext. It was a big film for subtext.
We were really lucky in that we had this beautiful script that allowed for so much space between the words and so much nuance and so much subtlety, and that on top of having a script that allowed for that's also what Todd wanted to do with it. And so it was really fun to be able to play with that.
We were reading through scenes and talking through scenes, and several times there were places where I remember Rooney saying, "Does she need to say that?" And we'd all go, "No, she doesn't. Let's have her not say it out loud. It would be so much stronger if that was suggested rather than stated." And so there was this reduction and this minimalizing, of information that was something that started with Phyllis and myself in the script, continued with the actors, gave a role for the camera to play, and gave a specific role for the music to play. All of these things became kind of a a continuum along the way.
There's something very human, regardless of gender, just about the idea of like when you begin a relationship, somebody may be saying something, but you're not sure if that's what they actually mean.
I think when you fall in love for the first and absolute time, you feel like you're inventing a language, and the language exists between you, but you've got to learn to speak it, and you've got to make sure that you're reading the other person's cues accurately. And I think what makes it sort of unusual, probably for a heterosexual audience, is that it's two women falling in love, but that's what ambushes an audience. And really, I think the power of the film is that the gender is absolutely central to the film. It's a huge component in it, but it's not the only thing. It's really, for me, about a love story about falling in love for the first time and the consequences of that.
Everything comes full circle. We gave each other the most breathtaking of gifts.